I was interested to listen to your first speaker on the topic of patterning and the uniqueness of each individual's patterning as it is brought through the bioenergetic and DNA programming which relates to an individual. And this, of course, is not the only thing which affects the way an individual develops. For that particular patterning may bring with it a certain sensitivity to electromagnetic resonances and to the effects of energy activities which go on in the universe around you and which constantly pervade the atmosphere of your earth. And this fits quite nicely with the topic which I was hoping to speak a few words on this evening, which is that of sensitivity. And there has been much spoken around this medium recently, and we believe that it is a topic which also crops up elsewhere, of empathy and those who are empaths or who are empathic. And empathy and being empathic are in fact descriptions of a high level of sensitivity. And that particular way of being aware of other energies around you, being aware of other life forms around you, is a way of tuning in to the energy of the universe. And when we say that, we mean the energy of each individual life force as it corresponds and communicates with the energy of the universe. For all are connected, whether or not that connection is recognized or identified in any way. And as mediums, you will be aware that you have trained and exercised for many years in order to heighten your level of sensitivity, to enable an increased ability to blend with the energies that we as spirit bring around you when we sit. And it is this level of sensitivity, for in spirit, you will be aware that we have no particular need for a physical body. We may take a certain form if we choose, but we are aware and we can communicate without the need for words. We can communicate through thought transference by just actually being aware of the energy of thought forms around us. And we may, if we choose, remove ourselves temporarily from that sensitivity in order to allow personal and private reflection of the individual soul energy. But that energy that you cultivate is actually an increased awareness of your connection to the web of love, the web of energy which underlies and supports everything in your physical universe. And that sensitivity is not just between human beings, of course. It is a sensitivity which applies to all life forms, as you are aware of them. And there are, I have to say, some life forms of which you are not aware. But we will not discuss those this evening. And the life forms that are most obvious to you, and I was eavesdropping your conversation earlier on. You have your pets, your animals, your horses, your dogs, your cats, whatever they may be. And each of these, in their own individual way, with their own individual programming, has their particular sensitivity. And these are drawn to you because of your own sensitivities and because of the correlation of those sensitivities and the feeling of loving connection that occurs when two similarly programmed life forms come close together. And in nature itself, you are aware, all of you, I am sure, that if you walk in nature as opposed to in the city, you will feel this sensitivity of nature's beauty around you, of the plants, of the bushes, of the trees, of the birds, all of these things. Their energy impacts you, and hopefully in a way which lightens you, in a way which brings you joy, brings you pleasure, brings you an understanding of the way in which their life is being experienced. And all of these things, consciously or unconsciously, contribute to your own perception of sensitivity as it grows throughout your particular physical lifetime. And this growth, this ability to be sensitive, this heightened level of sensitivity which occurs as you mature, is connected directly with your soul progression. For those who come closest to the desires and ideals of the universal laws, of the intent of the Creator, they are the ones who feel that connection, who understand that the objective, the way that each should be moving is towards an understanding of the love and the connection and the wisdom of discovering how, when joined together, each may move forward in a way which is enhanced beyond that which could be achieved on a solo journey. And that sensitivity to nature is something that you need to be aware of, and I am sure you are, that this beautiful diversity of nature as you look around you is part of the evolution and the development and the sensitivity of the soul of the planet itself. And this is why there is such concern amongst those sensitives among you in your group and in other groups of the destruction of some of these beautiful species of which your earth has been home. And each animal, each life, each insect, each plant, each tree contributes to the sensitivity of the planet. And it is as if when these are removed or are no longer able to sustain themselves in the environment that you are creating, it is as if the sensitivity of the planet is being directly affected. And of course, when this happens, the planet itself reacts. And so you get these major adjustments in the form of natural movements of the earth, such as earthquakes or tremors. And you have the effects of extreme weather, of heightened rainfall, which cause flooding, of heightened drought, which causes things to be parched and to be unable to sustain normal life. Each of these things is a direct consequence in some way of the lack of sensitivity that is exhibited by part of humankind. And this is thankfully being remedied by groups such as yours and by other groups, and particularly by what you call your environmental groups. And their efforts are to be applauded. It is just unfortunate that there are so many in positions of influence and power who do not understand the question of sensitivity. And throughout the ages, sensitivity has been the tool of the sages, the magicians, the sorcerers, the healers, the shamans. For they have understood the connection, the partnership, the way to work with the forces of nature, to work with the forces of energy which are present on this particular planet. And so the wisdom that has been handed down for many hundreds and thousands of years comes to you. And much of it now is being set aside or forgotten. For there are so many distractions in your material world. And we would urge you that despite all the attractions of your technological gadgets and equipment, that you encourage your children and your grandchildren to feel their own sensitivities to nature, to feel their own connection to all that is around them, to understand the joy of being in nature, of growing things, of tending animals, of feeling that connection and understanding that it is not all about human beings, that it is all about all life. And the sensitivities which we are aware of are sometimes beyond those which are currently recognized by your scientists or by your other groups on your planet. For your sun, everybody thinks of it as a hot ball of energy burning in the sky, which brings warmth, which brings light. But it is far more than that. For the sun and its energies, which go beyond heat and light, are part of what affects the individual programming that was referred to earlier on. And because the individual programming is different from individual to individual, each reacts in a different way to the energy that the sun sends forth. And there are energies which are not understood and maybe will never be understood, but they are present. And the surges in your sun's activity also partly reflect the relationship between your earth and the sun, and your earth and the sun and the creator. For the creator has put in place the web of energy, the web of life, and the stars which he has set in your universe, the physical aspects of this extreme concentration of energy. These are part of the way in which he enables his desires, his programming, his expectations to be filtered through into the life forms that are present in the universe. And so it is much as in your way, in your lands where you have electricity, and the electricity does not all flow directly from one source into your home. You have what are called, I believe, substations or distribution points and networks. And this series of stars in your universe are indeed very much used by the creative energies, the divine life force, to send through the energies which are necessary for the development of your planet, and through the development of your planet into your individual lives. And these things are to be pondered. For sensitivity by some is seen as a weakness, but I can assure you that lack of sensitivity is far more of a weakness. For those who do not feel the emotions, the love, the kindness, the needs, the desires of others, will never find a peace with those amongst whom they live. And it is important to understand your sensitivity and not to fight it, but to welcome it and to allow it to blend through you into the lives that surround you. And we encourage you in your group, as we have said recently, to allow your sensitivities to flow out from your circle, your beautiful group, into the lives of others who are seeking to find the balance in their own sensitivity, their own way of connecting with spirit, their own way of connecting with the planet and with the beautiful energy of nature that graces it. And we will, of course, in our sensitivity, be aware of the desires of positive intent and love, which are so well indicated by groups such as yours. And we will work to heighten your influence, to heighten your reach and extension into the lives of others. And so, at this point, I think maybe I should be sensitive to the fact that I have spoken for a while, and to think about saying my usual closing remark, which is that I hope that your God, whatever you perceive that to be, may be with you, and be sensitive to your own needs, your own desires, your own progress on your pattern of soul development and growth in this particular incarnation. And I ask this with all humility and all love, and I give my grateful thanks for an opportunity to address you again this evening. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.